This podcast is sponsored by nobody. Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now tonight, I will be talking to a legend in the world of women's wrestling. I'm talking about Princess Victoria. Oh my god, this woman is a legend. I mean, for a short time in the early 80s, she was a fucking beast. I mean, she was packing it in, and she was kicking ass, her Velvet McIntyre and so many other female wrestlers at that time, they were just hauling ass. And then, of course, everyone knows about her injury that got her out of wrestling pretty early. But at that time, I mean, there was nothing bigger than Princess Victoria, nothing more awesome. And she's coming on. We're going to chronicle her wrestling journey. I want to ask her some fun questions about wrestling, like the whole Jerry Lawler and Andy Kaufman thing. I've talked about it with a few people. And talk about Glow, because I've talked to Matt Cimber and all of that stuff. And it's going to be an interesting conversation. I've heard her a bunch of times on Greg Gilbert's podcast, and he speaks very highly of her. So she's going to be an awesome guest today. I can't wait. We're supposed to do this in July, and then we had to reschedule, but it's finally going to happen tonight, and I'm so excited. So yeah, here is my interview with the legendary Princess Victoria. Hey Vicky, welcome to the show. How are you tonight?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I am fabulous. I can't tell you what a great honor this is. Thank you so much for finally coming on. This is great.
I appreciate that. Sometimes, you got to quit doing things in order to chill, and that's what I've done.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you having me on here tonight. I really do.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Greg Gilbert speaks very highly of you, and I'm looking forward to it myself.
Uh, Greg and I have went from me being on on his show to we're actually friends because he's a nutcase.
Yeah. He is. He is. I fucking love him though.
Oh, you and me both. He's got this thing. What is it? Jim Cornette. He's got Corny and Sheiky Baby as my two boyfriends.
Yeah.
And he has to come in there once in a while, like I'll post something. Well, have you told Corny about this? Or is Sheiky Baby there?
Yeah. Yep, that's Greg.
Yep.
So, going back in time, were you like athletic growing up?
Yes, actually, I was. I was a combination athletic and into music. I did the swim team, volleyball.
Mm-hmm.
I was lousy at baseball, but let's put it this way: they put me out in right field, and that should tell you the story right there.
Yeah. Were your parents athletes?
No, actually, they weren't, which is amazing because I was just always drawn to athletics, and then I was also drawn to music. In school, we had, and I'll never forget him. He was the music teacher, like the guy on Glee, where all the girls were in love with him.
Yeah.
And give you an idea, I can still remember his name. His name was Mr. Vicdahl. And I started out playing the reed. Then he moved me up to clarinet, then to bass clarinet, and then to alto sax.
Nice.
And we were actually our band, our school band, actually won the state championship, and the
Wow.
prize was we got to go to Lake Havasu and be the first people to walk across the London Bridge when it was sent here from France.
Wow. Yeah, were you a big music lover growing up?
Oh yeah, I'm still am. I've got and it's varied. I go all the way back to 50s and 60s.
Oh,
Marty Robbins.
oh,
Um, and, oh, what's his name? Anybody in that era, especially the Western.
oh yeah, country and
And
western.
yeah, and like Loretta Lynn, Tammy Wynette, oh shoot.
Tennessee Ernie Ford.
Yep, yep,
Yeah, I interviewed
yep.
his son.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
And Roy Clark was my favorite.
Roy Clark.
I
Oh,
mean,
I love him.
he could mix humor and music just so well. I even watch him online. Go to YouTube and watch him there now. Um, I've probably got, I'd say, close to 500 vinyls in my back room.
Yeah,
That like,
yeah. My dad
and
my dad was a rock musician when I was a kid, so he had everything on vinyl.
right, right.
Yeah.
And what's funny is everybody was hollering about uh you needed to replace vinyl because it scratched, you needed to do this, and they came out with the CDs, and they were supposed to be unscratchable, which we soon found out that wasn't true.
Right.
And now it's come full circle. This generation now wants vinyl back
Yep.
because it has a truer sound than the CDs ever did, and it's become a new thing.
Yeah, it's a weird thing because vinyl's come back, people are buying it, and yet the artists they're touring their balls off because they can't make money in digital download of their songs. It's weird how that works out, you know?
I wondered about that when it first came. When you first when I first started seeing YouTube, and I was wondered how they got paid, and then I found out watching different interviews that they weren't getting paid,
Yeah.
which was not good for them.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you're right. They've all had to go back on the road. Peter Frampton is still on the road. The Who is still on the road. ZZ Top is still on the road.
Yep.
And they're all my age or older. And then we just lost Ozzy,
Oh,
which normally when a musician or a TV star passes away, I go, well, they were 89 or 81 or whatever. They had a good life, but Ozzy hit me right in my feelings when he passed away.
oh yeah.
I knew when he did that song, I'm Coming Home, Mama. I knew then watching it that he was on the verge of dying. And sure enough, within 2 weeks of him doing that concert, he was gone.
I know, and he had just started doing horror conventions, which breaks my heart because I go to horror conventions and like I would have loved to have met him. And everyone says he was having a good time at them. He was laughing with everybody, and he wanted to like ask the fans questions and get to know them and stuff. It's like sad I never got to experience that with him.
Yeah, me too. That would have probably been my all-time favorite day. Um, and I watching Shannon on like The View and other things that they've done, and watching, you know, Ozzy and family, they were all just down to earth people.
Yeah.
You know, Ozzy was what I keep telling these new guys in wrestling. Ozzy knew and treated the fans like, okay, if it wasn't for the fans, who would Ozzy be?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like with me, you know, if it wasn't for my fans, there is no Princess Victoria.
Right.
And a lot of these kids, unfortunately, can't get that through their head.
Yeah.
They're walking into a dressing room. My two most hated sentences are, I got to get my this in and I got to get my that in.
Right.
And then sitting there for 2 hours talking over a 15-minute match. You know, it was just, and what these kids don't understand is it's not about you. It's not about you jumping off the top rope, you know, and doing all these crazy bumps, you know, especially this new extreme wrestling where they're landing on tacks. And
Yep.
I just saw a girl I know, well, actually, she's a woman, she's my age, maybe a few years younger.
Mm-hmm.
And she had literally on her face and under her arms and everywhere else were bite marks that went through the skin. And that's something I would never do.
Yeah.
You know, it's not worth killing yourself to do a match like that. And
yeah,
it's hard enough just being a regular wrestler, much less going into these, you know, 48-inch bulbs thrown in the ring and things like that. And it's hard to watch.
Mm-hmm. What wrestlers did you watch growing up that like influenced you?
Oh Lord. Well, Jimmy Snuka first of all, because my first live wrestling match that I went to was Jimmy. I found out was Jimmy's first time ever wrestling in front of a crowd, and I've still got the 8x10 that he signed for me when I was 9 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You could go Dutch Savage, Lonnie Main, Roddy Piper, Buddy Rose, Ed Wiskowski, aka Colonel De Beers.
Yeah.
You know, I got lucky. I started watching wrestling with my granddad on Saturday nights. And the first live match, like I said, I was 9 years old. Between then and 14, I never made it back to a match. But when I made it back to the matches when I was 14, it was, like I said, Buddy Rose, Ed Wiskowski, Dutch Savage, Stan Stasiak, Roddy Piper, Buddy Rose, Jay Youngblood, Tommy Rogers. And everybody, I believe, that I just mentioned is gone now.
Yeah.
Except for Ed. No, Ed just recently died. So everybody that I just mentioned is gone.
Yeah, my dad grew up on Pepper Gomez and Tor Johnson and people like that.
Right, and right, and it's really, I got very, very lucky. I came into wrestling in the Pacific Northwest when all these guys were there.
Mm-hmm.
And I basically, when I first started hanging around the matches, you know, I was living, at 14 years old, I left home between 14 and 15. And I started hanging around the matches. I went to the matches, and then one night I had quit my job at Denny's restaurant that was on 23rd and Burnside in Portland, and I was going in the door at the matches, and I asked Sandy Barr. I said, "You got a job for me?" Because that was back in the day where you had to personally appear. You know, there were no computers.
Nope.
And Sandy said, "Sure, you can start tonight." And I looked down. I'm in a dress and high heels.
Yeah.
And I looked and I said, "You know, Sandy, I can't work like this." He said, "I'll see you tomorrow at 6 o'clock." And I looked at him. I said, "In the morning?" He said, "Yes, I'll see you at 6 o'clock in the morning." Well, needless to say, I didn't sleep, because 6 o'clock in the morning, it's, you know, when the matches were over, it was 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. But then I started, you know, working for Sandy, flipping tables for his Friday, Saturday, Sunday flea market. And how I broke in was, you know, I started working for him, and Thursday night, we went in, set up for the flea market Friday morning. Friday night, we had to break down the flea market. No, wait a minute. Then the flea market went Friday to Saturday. Then Saturday night, we had to break down the flea market, set up the ring and the chairs. Then after the matches Saturday night, we had to turn around and tear down the ring and flip, you know, set up for the flea market again. And pretty much between Friday and Sunday night, none of us got any sleep, because working for Sandy was a multi-talented job. He had me, and this is in the old day of printings. The printing is when you had to do what they call burn a 3 by 5 foot metal piece, and you would use that to print the programs that we sold for 50 cents a piece. After that, we do, you know, after all that was done, if there was time, we went down to the Chinese restaurant down the street. Sandy bought us all dinner, and then we went back in. You know, there were programs to staple, to put together. There were photos that needed to be developed and printed, and I did all of it. You know.
Yeah.
Sandy even had me and Sean and Art, his two sons. The house that him and Sherry lived at the time, me, Sean, and Art tiled the floor. And of course, Sandy couldn't have just a simple, you know, 12 by 12 tile or 8 by 8 tile. He had the little tiles. And I'm talking, they were probably 3 by 3 inches. And he had a certain design he wanted put in the tile.
Right.
So I learned how to lay tile when I was working with him too.
Did you remain in touch with him until his passing?
Actually, I lost touch with Sandy in '84. When Lillian threw me to the wolves when I broke my neck because I couldn't wrestle anymore.
Right.
And somehow, moving all my stuff into my Chevy, I somehow lost my address book. And a couple of years later was when I believe it was Sean died. No, it was Art. Art passed away, and this was after I broke my neck and all that, and I had called Moolah, aka Lillian Ellison, to get Sandy's number, and she hung up on me.
God.
And never got me back, never sent me the number to Sandy.
That's so
And
rude.
I lost touch, with everybody because I had grown up in the Pacific Northwest. I was little sister, I was in the group of the guys where, you know, Buddy and Matt might have a fight backstage, but if Matt called Buddy and said, "Look, I'm broke down, I'm 120 miles out of town, can you come get me?" The argument didn't get in the way, just like it didn't get in the way of wrestling. But with Lillian, I couldn't make her money anymore, so she didn't, as far as she was concerned, I wasn't worth anything.
Oh boy. God.
Well, that's
It's
the way that Lillian was.
yeah. Politics and wrestling, it sounds like, too.
Well, she I can only tell you like this, like I tell everybody. I have split Moolah between Lillian the Booker and Moolah the wrestler.
Hmm.
Lillian the Booker, if I were to see her today, her and I would have serious words.
Yeah.
I have no respect for Lillian the Booker. She stole from us, she lied to us, she manipulated us. What she did to Judy and Leilani in Japan, there was no reason for that.
Yeah.
She is basically the reason the Glamour Girls disappeared. But Lillian Ellison, the Booker, I have no respect for, would not walk across the road to pour a 5-gallon bucket of water on her if she was on fire. But I have to respect Moolah the wrestler because she came up in very hard times. And if it weren't for the women like her in that era, I'm not sure women wrestling would be here today.
Right. It's a weird thing to reconcile, hate her but love what she did for the sport.
Exactly. Well, you know what she did to Leilani and Judy in Japan, right?
I've heard little things about it, yeah.
Well, I can tell you the whole story. Judy and Leilani went to Japan. Glamour Girls versus the Jumping Bomb Angels.
Hmm.
Moolah calls Judy and tells Judy that Pat Patterson had called Moolah and told Moolah that they wanted that that the WWE wanted them to drop the belts to the Jumping Bomb Angels while they were in Japan, and then they get the belts back when they came to, I think it was WrestleMania. It was very early. I think it was WrestleMania 1, as a matter of fact.
Hmm.
And they dropped the belts just like Moolah told them. Pat said, "Come to find out, that was never said." When Pat called Judy and Leilani in Japan and basically canceled them, I mean, that was the end of the Glamour Girls.
Right.
And it was due to the fact that Moolah lied to Judy and Leilani. Moolah could not get past her own ego. She couldn't have anybody else out there that had more fans than she did, or had more charisma in the ring. I mean, she screwed over Wendy Richter. She screwed over me. She screwed over Leilani and Judy. And it was all when we were just hitting that that infamous level.
Mm-hmm.
And she did everything she could to stop any of the girls from getting to her level in memories in wrestling. If she had stepped back and put her ego to the side and thought like a true businesswoman, she could have sat behind her desk, answered phones, booked girls. I mean, she had Judy, she had Leilani, she had Wendy, she had Velvet, she had Despina, she had Leilani. And all those girls were on top. And instead of pushing them to, the height, she took them down. And, if she just stepped back, things would have been so different for those ladies.
Mm-hmm.
And it's heartbreaking. About as heartbreaking as it was when she told me, she said, when I broke my neck in the ring,
Mm-hmm.
uh, she sent me to
Excuse me.
Amsterdam to visit a guy, and her parting words were, "Well, hon, the nicer you are to Ernie, the nicer he'll be to you." There weren't enough drugs, money, or liquor on the earth. There just wasn't. And when I came back, she was flaming fire engine red mad because I hadn't slept with Ernie. And that's when she walked to, I hadn't been back from Amsterdam but for a couple of days, and she walked in. She said, "You can't wrestle anymore. You're 3 months behind in your rent. I'll take that outfit, my yellow outfit, my white outfit, my brown outfit, and the boots I had made to match them for your past rent. And you need to either get a job and start paying the rent, or you need to go."
Mm-hmm.
And I packed everything. I gave her the outfits. God knows where they are now. Gave her the outfits because that's the way I was raised. You pay your debt, and never heard from her again. I left Moolah's with $20 in my pocket, and what I could, and my personal belongings that would fit in my station wagon.
Jesus. I saw your matches on YouTube with Leilani and Judy. Oh my God! I just love how even when the moments looked hopeless for you, you never backed down. I mean, you fucking fought in those matches. I mean, what do you remember about being that young and just being so determined to win?
Is it? Oh Lord, you're asking me to go back 40 years. It was it was the goal was to get either the women's belt or the tag team belts.
Mm-hmm.
And Velvet and I had wrestled each other in the Pacific Northwest.
Right.
And I kind of got tired of her whooping my tail all the time. So Moolah decided to book us as a tag team. And I will never forget the first time we walked into Madison Square Garden. And it was actually the same night we won the belts from Joyce Grable and Wendy Richter.
Mm-hmm.
And I, if you look at that match, you'll see me grab Velvet by the arm,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll see us kind of do a not quite a do-si-do, but we kind of turn around and look. And I said, and if you read my lips, you'll know what I said. But I said, "Oh my God, Velvet, look at all these fucking people." And to walk out there and, when you're getting beat down, but you got some kid sitting on the front row and he's almost crying or she's almost crying because you're getting beat, it turns things around.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you that extra boost that you needed. And there's nothing like being in the ring and hearing the crowd that were with you.
Yeah.
uh, there's just nothing like it, and you wanted that all the time. So, one of my favorite things is when the kids came up and wanted an autograph. Um, I could see me. I could see me through their eyes because I remember how I felt when I got my first autograph from Jimmy Snuka.
Mm-hmm.
I was in total awe. And looking at the kids, I could see they were in total awe too.
Right.
And in fact, there was one night that there was adult, an adult pushed her way through the kids and wanted me to sign her autograph. And I said, the end of the line is back there, ma'am. And well, I just want your autograph. I said, the end of the line is back there, ma'am, because she pushed a bunch of kids out of the way. And that's one good way to get me teed off, is to hurt a kid or do that to a kid. Kind of like Miss Karen, who took the baseball
Mm-hmm.
from the kid just recently. You feel that. And it was just, there was just nothing like it. I mean, to see the kids with their eyes. And I've had grown-ups come to me
Mm-hmm.
and say that they watched me when they were kids, and you gave me the strength. That somebody named me the Rainmaker for some reason. And uh to know. And I've had more than a dozen people, especially women,
Mm-hmm.
that said that they were down, they were beat, they were 14, 15 years old, they were going through stuff at home, they were ready just to call it a day. They wanted to do a permanent solution to a temporary situation. And they said watching me brought them out of it, because they figured if I could do it, they could do it, that there was a light at the end of the tunnel.
That is wonderful. It's got to be gratifying when you hear stuff like that.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It is. And that's why, I don't know if you've read my book, but the first,
I got to. I got to read it.
first, well, get ready for a rough ride in the first 70 pages, because that's about my childhood.
Wow.
And it was not a nice place to be, but I made it through. And the reason that I put that in the book is, if that saves one person. I mean, my brother James committed suicide
Uh,
because of the things that happened in our household. And if it saves, one Jamie, or one Scott in the world, then everything is worth it. And
mm-hmm.
them telling me, these women telling me that I gave them the boost that kept them going is beyond gratifying. I can't even explain the feeling when and it's always the same. It never changes that somebody believed in me enough that they now believed in themselves.
Absolutely. I'm curious, how did you come up with the name Princess Victoria and the whole persona you have of Native American Indian?
Well, if you look at my earlier matches
Mm-hmm.
and you see that white embroidered skirt and that brown vest and those moccasin boots I'm wearing,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't buy those for wrestling. They were already in my closet.
Oh,
Um, and I actually wanted to become what was the name I wanted? Misty LaFleur,
mm-hmm.
a French girl. And Sandy Barr, the guy who trained me, he said, "Can you speak French?" I said, "No." He said, "Then how can you be a French girl if you can't speak French?" And he told me, he said, "Just be who you are. It's easier to be who you are than put on this persona. Be who you've always been." And it made sense. And he put the princess in front of Victoria. And it just came like that. The pink headdress that I wore was given to me by Jay Youngblood. The choker, which is the only thing I have left out of my wrestling gear, was given to me by Jay Youngblood.
Mm-hmm.
And to have somebody like that believe in me enough to give me a headdress that his father gave to him and a choker that his father gave to him meant a lot. But I didn't really come up with the Princess Victoria. It was just there.
Right. Yeah, because I was always baffled as to why you didn't have a more campy Indian name like Gushing Vicky or something like that. Because of everybody wrestling got more and more campy as it went on. And so a lot of guys had names like Jake the Snake Roberts and stuff like that.
Right. Uh, yeah, and but that's who Jake was.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been in the room when Jake had that snake. Um and I've watched it eat mice.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell on myself a little bit here. The night that I saw, that I was there with Jake and a couple other people, we're sitting around drinking beer
Hmm.
and we're smoking a little ganji.
Yeah.
And Jake took a beer cap, and this is when you had to pop the top that wasn't the screw tops. And he took a bottle cap and he filled it with beer, and then he put some seeds in it and let it soak. And then he gave the mice this cap of beer and seeds
Right.
and waited about an hour and put the mice, and as I recall there was four of them, put the mice in the snake cage, and the mice had absolutely no fear whatsoever. I remember distinctly one of them running up on the snake's back and sitting on its head and did like a crouch down and looked the snake right in the eyes.
Yeah.
So, that Jake took care of his snake
What,
in
what
more ways than one.
what kind of snake was it? A boa?
Yeah, no, this was the yellow one he had.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Not an anaconda. This was a yellow and white one he had.
Okay.
And I cannot remember the name. Wasn't a boa. Definitely wasn't an anaconda. I honestly can't answer that question.
Let's just call it a white snake.
Yeah, it was. Um, and Jake was just Jake. But I am so glad that Dallas got a hold of him
Mm-hmm.
because we were real close to losing Jake
Yeah.
when Dallas Page got a hold of him with a DDPY.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually doing that now because due to my broken neck and not getting any medical for it, I have several skeletal issues that
Right.
uh, the doctors have basically said there's no surgical options. And they went as far as to try to put me on morphine. I said, nope, we're not doing that. But I've got degenerative disc bone disease. The last three vertebrae in my neck, 3, 4, and 5, are naturally fused together. And probably the only thing that saved me from, being completely paralyzed
Mm-hmm.
or even dying in the ring was Sandy Barr instilled on me that it doesn't matter where you are, you can work out.
Right.
And he had this one exercise which was called a Harvard Bridge. And it's basically a reverse bridge. What you do is you lay down, you put your hands on your stomach, and you use your neck to roll up into a reversed bridge. And right up until the day that I broke my neck, I did 3 sets of 20 of those bridges. And to this day, I swear if it hadn't been for that I would either be paralyzed or dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Freaking lucky there. Did you know Mr. Fantastic?
Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, Al Burke.
Oh yeah, I've met Al. I didn't meet him in wrestling. I met him after wrestling.
Yeah, I had him on a
And
couple years ago. He's a great guy.
oh yeah, yeah, and he's funny as all get out.
Yeah.
Um, and I've been friends with Al on Facebook for a while. And we've talked about a few different things. And then one day I was watching music videos,
Mm-hmm.
and I watching this video. I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm good as once as I ever was.
Yeah.
And I got a hold of Al. I said, Al, was that you in that video? And yep, that was Al.
Yeah, I told Greg to reach out to him and talk to him. I said, God, he was one of the greats. And you know what Greg said, being the wrestling purist that he is? He said, I'll be the judge of that. Oh.
Greg's a mess, and that's all I can say is Greg's a mess. An
He's,
enjoyable mess, but he's a mess.
you're gonna hear from them. You're gonna hear from him because he's gonna hear this.
Hi, Greg. No, Sheiky Baby and Corny are not here.
Yeah. Did you know Sheik, Iron Sheik?
Oh, Iron Sheik didn't believe women belonged in wrestling.
Yeah, I heard that about him.
I've actually uh he was at a signing, and I think it was Walmart. I think it was at Walmart in Franklin, Virginia.
That's funny.
And I went to talk to him, and he tried to pull that. He couldn't speak English.
Yeah.
And I went to talk to his wife, and she looked at me. She said, "Hon," she said, "he doesn't have a clue who you are. He doesn't remember a lot." So, from what I understand, he had dementia.
Oh.
And that came from her mouth,
Wow.
not some article that I read.
Mm-hmm.
The last years of his life.
God.
But he did not believe women belonged in wrestling. There's a few of the old timers that were like that.
Yeah.
Dutch Mantell to this day is that way. He was on he was doing this podcast, and this was probably a year ago. And somebody asked him, "Well, what effect did women's wrestling have on professional wrestling?"
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "None."
An asshole.
And it kind of upset me, because Dutch was one of the guys that I watched wrestle. And he was a friend on my page, and I tagged him in a post that was not so nice about it too.
Yeah.
He unfriended me for some reason. I just don't know why.
Yeah. He hates women. What an asshole.
Huh?
I said he hates women. He's an asshole.
And to be perfectly honest, I've never met the man.
Ugh.
I've seen him wrestle, but I've never met him. But after what he said, and somebody sent me a link to it, so I didn't. It wasn't somebody said he said this. They sent me the link.
Yeah.
And I heard it out of his own mouth, and you'll get an idea watching my page. I don't call people out unless they have just really crossed the line.
Right.
And I called him out and tagged him in it, because I'm not going to pull that. I'm going to say this, say that, and then not tag him in it. I'd say it to his face if he was standing in front of me right now.
Oh, good for you. They need it.
Well, you've got to look at the women in wrestling that came before me. Mm-hmm. I mean, good Lord, those women had a hard road to hoe. And I can't remember her name, but she was on Diamonds and Dynamite, or Dynamite and Diamonds. That video that they did with Moolah, Esther, Mae Young. And there was this one lady, and she was rough. Even in past her 60s, she was rough. And she would smoke a cigar, and she told the guy that was filming them, she said she'd been shot twice and stabbed 3 different times.
Wow. Fuck.
Because of wrestling.
God.
So it wasn't only the boys who had the hard road to hoe when it came to the fans.
It's pretty well known about how much you can't stand Vince McMahon and the Hulk, who passed away recently. Last year I saw the documentary, and I thought it was pretty tasteless, because they did a whole episode that was pretty much dedicated to Hulk, and they hadn't talked in like 30 years or something. I didn't know what the fuck that was about. But, it's funny. I generally can't stand documentaries about living people, because it becomes pretty clear early on it's a self-fulfilling vanity project of relevancy, and the person who's the subject won't take accountability for anything dumb they've done in their past. I just thought it was tasteless, and now that with Hulk dying and shit, I wonder what's going through his head now. But like at the time, like, did you see wrestling going into that direction?
No, because I broke my neck in '84,
So
September of '84, and we hadn't hit the attitude age yet.
yeah,
Um, and it was the first week in '84. Everybody thinks it's the match that from September 1st of '84 where I broke my neck. It's not. It was a dark match.
right.
But I've done Vice. Let's see, I did Vice about Moolah. I did Vice about Chris Colt, and I did the territories with Luke Williams, Len Denton, and Ben Masters.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never. There's no reason to try to build yourself up to something you're not.
Right.
I'll be the first one. If I'm wrong, I will be the first one to say it.
Right.
And trying to put yourself over in a documentary when there's so many ways to check it,
Mm-hmm.
There's no sense in lying these days. There's no sense in lying, period.
There's no way to
Most
because the internet. Right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. We've got the internet. And thank God we didn't have the internet when I was younger. I mean, there's some things I did in wrestling that, like, I glued one guy's boots to the ceiling because he aggravated me.
Yeah.
And Rip Oliver is the one who helped me because Rip put me on his shoulders and, so that I could reach the ceiling with the boots. Poor Wahoo. Oh my Lord, bless his heart. This is after Wahoo got clean and sober.
Mm-hmm.
We all had 2 days off.
Yeah.
And that is totally unheard of in my day. Today these kids wrestle once a month, once every 3 months. When I was in the business, we wrestled sometimes 8 times in a week. You wrestle Monday through Saturday and twice on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
You do an afternoon show at the fairgrounds, and then you'd be in an arena at night. So us having time off was like, yes, yes, yes. And Piper had rented a suite, and it had like 2 different bedrooms in it. I mean, this was a nice luxury suite. And Piper, Morocco, Authentica, those guys always made sure that us girls knew where the venue was, what motel we were to stay at, the whole 9 yards. They always took care of us.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm up there with Piper, and you would have thought, when Piper told the woman at the desk, we need a room in the back away from everybody. And there were probably 15 people partying in the room. Well, there's a knock on the door. Open the door. It's Wahoo. Mm-hmm. He wants us to quiet down because he rented a room right below us, which, in my opinion, was probably the dumbest thing he could have done. And don't get me wrong, I love Wahoo. Wahoo is Wahoo. And
yeah,
Pike just looked at him and said, "Yeah, brother," and closed the door. All about 15 minutes later, here comes Wahoo again. Once again, Piper says, "Yeah," and closes the door. About 15 minutes after that, the front desk called. Now we're all aggravated. You know,
Yeah.
Wahoo knew that we were all partying. You know, if I had been Wahoo, I would have had front right-hand corner that far away from us. So after the front desk called and we're all aggravated, there's a knock on the door. And I'm telling on myself now. When the knock on the door came, I held up my finger to my mouth. I shushed everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I stripped down to absolutely nothing. And I opened the door wide. I said, "Hey, Wahoo, how you doing?" If you could have seen the look on his face.
Yeah.
And he just dropped his head, turned around, and went right back down the stairs. We never heard from Wahoo again that night.
Wow. Shit.
And I have actually told his wife this story.
What'd she think?
Oh, she laughed.
Yeah.
She laughed. I mean, you know, he should have known better.
Yeah.
And she got that. You know, you don't if you're on the straight and narrow, you don't hang with people that are on the crooked mile.
Mm-hmm.
And getting the room right below us was just, it was stupid.
Yeah.
But that's just a couple of the pranks ribs, I'm sorry, let me use the correct name, ribs that I pulled in my time in the business.
Right. In the early 80s, when you were at the height of wrestling, there was that feud between Jerry Lawler and Andy Kaufman that happened. What did you think of that?
Do you know how bad I wanted to be in? You know he called Moolah,
Oh,
right?
no, I
Or
didn't
he
know
had
that.
yes, he had his people call Moolah.
Mm-hmm.
And to go on the Johnny Carson show and have a match. And the only rule was Moolah had to lose. Well, you know dang well Moolah turned him down on that.
Yeah.
And that's when Lawler stepped in.
Wow,
And I believe
so it started out as a challenge to Moolah, but then it ended up being Lawler.
right. I would
Wow.
have loved to have gone on that. I would have loved to have gone on that show.
Mm-hmm. Oh
I
yeah.
really would have.
Oh yeah.
I
Andy Kaufman and Princess Victoria. God, that would have been awesome.
Well, yeah, and I would have agreed with him. Yeah, I'll lose till I got in the ring.
Shit.
I'd have beat him half to death.
Yeah.
I would have. I'd have shot on him so bad. It wouldn't even be funny.
I've seen his matches. He's acting like a juvenile little kid in those matches. Like, come on, come get me, nah, nah. It's so funny.
Right. Yeah, well, that right there, Sandy always told me that, doesn't matter how big they are, doesn't matter how fast they are, if you take out their legs, they can't do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he showed me the side kick to the knee. And I would have loved to have shown it to Mr. Kaufman. He was so, I loved him as Luca in Taxi,
Laka.
but
Yeah.
when he pulled that crap, it was like I lost all respect for him.
Yeah.
I mean, there was just no. He was so down on women, it wasn't funny.
Oh yeah.
And I know you're not supposed to speak ill of the dead, but it's the truth. You know, and to think that somebody like Moolah would take a dive for him just because he was Andy Kaufman, he should have known better than that.
Yeah. And to this day, Lawler maintains that the feud was real because I'm sure his buddy Bob Zamuda, has him on the payroll because he wants to keep the myth going that everything Kaufman did was real and that he's someday going to return and say it was all a joke. I've been alive this whole time.
That'd be about right. He's out there on the same island with Marilyn Monroe and Elvis Presley.
And Jim Morrison.
And yep, I forgot Jim Morrison. They're all having a good time, drinking margaritas and eating bananas.
I know someone ought to do a parody of that. Since they're doing the Epstein Island thing, they should do like the Dead Celebrity Island.
Right?
That would be hilarious. That should be a Saturday Night Live sketch. I'm surprised they haven't thought of that yet.
Hush, keep that to yourself. You could sell it.
Maybe, maybe.
That actually would, in my opinion, because, and everybody's got one.
Yeah.
That would be funny as hell. I mean, can you imagine the interaction between those four people?
Yeah.
If they actually took on the characters as they truly were.
Yeah.
That'd be funny to me. Yeah. And I'm an Elvis fan for his music.
Me too.
Don't much care for his personal life, but I did love his music.
Yeah. God, he was something, that guy. Did you ever?
Who, Elvis?
Elvis, yeah.
Yeah. And what was his best friend's name? He worked at the same show that Elvis did. And I can't think of his name right now.
Are you talking about like another musician?
Yes, another singer.
Because I could tell you who he was friends with that were musicians. I know he was friends with Johnny Cash and Carl Perkins and I think Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yeah, but the other one was like a lounge singer.
Oh,
the teeth. He's got the teeth.
The teeth. Wayne Newton?
That's it right there.
Yeah, Mr. Vegas.
That's it right there.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Vegas.
Wayne Newton, yep.
Well, you know that. Do you know how him and Elvis met?
I can imagine it was in Vegas, and that's what drew Elvis to Vegas in the first place, because, he was pretty much considered... it's scary to think that he was considered an oldies act, but there was no way he was going to become an oldies act.
No, and yeah. No, Wayne was sitting in a restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
and in the, I think it was the Hilton. What was the name of the place they all sang at?
The Caesar's Palace.
Caesar's Palace, right? It's right there on Elvis Presley Boulevard in Vegas.
Right.
And they were, Wayne was sitting at a table eating breakfast, and Elvis came in and sat down, and he looked at Wayne and he says, "Well, I understand you're dating the same girl I am."
Mm-hmm.
And Elvis said the name, and Wayne said, "Yep, I am." And then they sat there for another hour talking about just music and all this other stuff. Totally forgot about the girl. I mean, Elvis said, well, you know, if she wants you, she wants you. If she wants me, she wants me, basically. I mean, that's not verbatim. That's basically what he said, which was just kind of funny to me.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Did you ever meet Cyndi Lauper?
No, I never met her. The one time that I was at Madison Square Garden when she went out with Wendy, um, that's when all our dressing rooms were separate.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I understand and what I was told, and I'm not going to say who told me this, but I said, "Where's Piper?" He said, "Princess, forget it. He's out there walking. He's like a lovelorn puppy dog chasing after Cyndi Lauper." And I went, "Well, hell, I can't be what she's got."
She's got the colors of the rainbow.
No kidding. No kidding. And Pipe was a mark for Cyndi Lauper, which is funny because I know Pipe well.
Yeah.
Or I knew him well, I should say.
Yeah.
We had a kind of thing back in the late 70s, before I ever started wrestling. So, you know, when I went to Moolah's, I actually stopped at the Days in Charlotte for 2 weeks where all the boys were staying, and stayed with Pipe. And Pipe kept telling me, "Vicky, you don't want to go to Moolah's. Look, you can stay here till you get your feet on the ground. You know, I'll help you find a job. I'll help you with this. I'll help you with that." And I just told him, I said, "Pipe," I said, "I want to wrestle. And this is the only way I can wrestle is by getting booked by Moolah." And up till the day I left to go to Columbia, which was, I think, 125 miles away, he kept pushing me and pushing me and pushing me. "No, I don't want you doing this. We'll do something else." But I wanted to wrestle. And I should have, when Pipe did that, because I at that point I'd known Piper almost 5 years. Um, and I should have listened to him. But if I had listened to him, I would have, Princess would have just, walked into the fog and never showed up again.
Mm-hmm.
And the way Sandy did it, when Sandy came, now see, Sandy got us booked with Don Owens, me and Velvet, got us booked with Don Owens with the Pacific Northwest at Chautauqua Sports Arena. He got us booked with Al Tonko at All Star Wrestling, and also one of my best friends in the business, Ed Moretti, gave us our first TV match.
Mm-hmm.
And Sandy pulled Velvet and I aside and said, "Look, I've done all I can. I can't get you guys booked anywhere. The only way that you're going to get booked is if you go to Moolah." And the way he said it, I should have listened to him then. But I didn't,
Mm-hmm.
and things happened. It was just a really bad show for Moolah. It really was.
It sounds like it.
I should have listened to Pipe, and I should have listened to the tone in Sandy's voice.
A couple of years ago, I interviewed the legendary Matt Cimber, and we talked about Glow. Now, funny thing is, I knew his movies. I knew that he had been married to Jane Mansfield. I didn't know about this glow. I knew about the Netflix glow, which was, based on the glow that he did. But I'm curious to know, like, do you think that his glow like truly captured female wrestling, or was he doing like a cartoon version of it?
Was that with Daisy May and Gremlina and all that?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, like I told one of the Glow girls when I was in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
There was an argument because somebody said something to the effect of Glow. Glow was the beginning of the attitude in women wrestling.
Right.
And a friend of mine, Mahala Hosaka, got really upset because they were on a panel at CAC. And she got very upset when they said that.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked up on one of the Glow girls talking to another friend of mine, and I told him straight up, I said, look, Malaya is Malaya. One thing that you don't have to worry about is wondering where she stands.
Right.
And if you can't take her the way she is, you need to take her in small doses. And I looked at the girl from Glow, and I said, look, I said, we all had our place in wrestling. You had Glow. You had Wow. You had Moolah Hill. You had, Cora and Debbie Combs. We all had our place. And Glow was on Saturday mornings in the cartoon era. And I said, I was a professional wrestler. I was doing, Madison Square Garden and all that. And you guys were great entertainment for the kids on Saturday morning. Because it really was. It was a clean show.
Yeah.
And I don't hold anything. I mean, Sandy Gremlina is a very good friend of mine. I love her to death. But everybody wants to get all upset about Glow and all that. I'm not upset about Glow.
Mm-hmm.
It was a parody.
Right.
And in my eyes, the sincerest form of honor is mimicry.
Right.
It's like people get upset because kids on Halloween dress up as an Indian, an Indian male or an Indian female. I don't get upset about it. I look at it this way. If they're dressing up like this, maybe they're going to find out a little bit more sooner or later about who and what they're dressing up as. But like I said, with Glow, they were Saturday morning entertainment for the kids. Because wrestling, by the time Glow was there, wrestling with Vinnie Mac,
mm-hmm.
God love him not, it had basically turned into a TNA show.
Oh yeah, it was like mud wrestling without the mud.
Say it again?
It was like mud wrestling without the mud.
Oh, you didn't see the match in Kuwait, did you?
Nope.
I woke up late one night, and at this time, this was back in 87, late 87. I woke up late and one night and couldn't go back to sleep because my husband was snoring a hole in my ear. And I happened to flip the TV on, and it happened to be right on WWE wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when Vinnie Mac took all the boys and girls to Kuwait for the soldiers.
Right.
And they kept talking about how Triple H was going to be Santa Claus, and these three girls were going to have a contest, and the winner of the contest was going to get to be Santa's little helper. I'm thinking, okay, three girls contest. This is wrestling. They're going to wrestle. These two girls are going to wrestle. Whoever wins this match, they're going to wrestle the other girl, and whoever wins that match is Santa's little helper.
Right.
And I was watching it as they walked out to the ring, and I did not notice that they had high heels on. They had these cute little Santa coats, which all of us had our cute little outfits. Not a problem. But when they shed their coats, they had three triangles and butt floss. Literally, I kid you not.
Yeah.
And instead of it being a wrestling match, they did a quote unquote dance off. And the only thing missing in the ring was the pole. And I almost lost my 55-inch deep DOP that night. It was everything I could not do to put my foot through the TV.
Yeah.
And that was the last day that I ever watched WWE wrestling.
Yeah.
Later on, I found out, and it's been recently within the last 2 years, that there was one of the girls that was crying on her way to the ring because she didn't want to do what they wanted her to do. But at that point, she had no choice. If she wanted to get booked, she had to do what Vinny said.
Yeah.
And I don't blame the girls for that. And believe it or not, I don't blame Vince Russo. I blame Vinnie Mac because he had to sign on the dotted line for that to happen.
Yeah. I think you dodged the bullet by having that injury, because otherwise you would have had to went through this shit if you had stayed in the game.
Oh no, I'd have told him to go straight to hell.
Yeah.
Al Tomko, when we were working for him, came to me in Velvet one night and said, "Look, I got this bar that wants you guys to mud wrestle, and they'll give you $500 a piece for the night." And I went, "What does Sandy say about this?" "Oh, Sandy's okay with it. I already talked to him." "Nope, I already know you, Al Tomko. You wouldn't know the truth if it walked up and slapped you in the face. I call Sandy, and I tell him what Al Tomko had just told me." And Sandy said, "I'll call you back in a few minutes." Click. Because this is when we had phones that you could slam down. That's the only thing I hate about cell phones. You can't slam them down. And I never heard Al Tomko mention that again, because neither Velvet nor I were going to do that. Not only because it's disgraceful to women's wrestling, but because, do you know how many injuries some of these kids have got wrestling in mud?
Well, you can get
You have no control over the situation.
right. You can get injured in any kind of wrestling, though.
Oh yeah, but with this, you could break your leg just stepping in this pool full of mud. And it wasn't wrestling. It was, to me, it was soft porn. It was blue porn.
Right.
And I just, I wasn't going to do it. And we never heard another word from Al about that. And I never heard from Sandy after that to tell me yes or no, but it kind of just went away.
So, moving away from wrestling, I'm curious, what's your favorite movie of all time?
Tombstone.
That's a good one.
Well, actually, I have two.
Uh huh.
The Guardians, the first movie, The Guardians, and Tombstone. If I'm in a bad mood, I can put either one of them on, and it just mellows me out.
Are you talking about the Tommy Lee Jones movie, The Guardian?
No, no, no. I'm talking
Or was it,
about
or was it William Friedkin, the horror one?
no, Chris. Oh shoot, Chris Platt.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The Guardians, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay. Now you're specific. Now I get it.
Well, the movie was actually called The Guardians. It wasn't called The Guardians of the Galaxy. It just
Yeah.
that came in the second movie,
Yeah.
which was okay, and the third movie kind of sucked. But I can put either one of those movies on, and just you know, and my favorite phrase. Oh, my cousin, God bless him,
Mm-hmm.
my cousin Jerry Crum, he had gotten uh, Kurt Russell and Vin Diesel, or not Vin Diesel, Van Damme autograph,
Mm-hmm.
and he had it. He signed it. I'll be your Huckleberry, and that's that's my favorite scene in the whole movie.
Yeah. Do you remember a wrestling movie called Below the Belt?
No, I have not.
That was
And you're the second person in a month to ask me that question.
yes, it's 1978, and I interviewed an actress that was in it. In the first 15 minutes, the girl who dreams of becoming a wrestler, she stops in this town and goes to the gym, and she meets this girl that she's a lesbian that has a crush on her, and she's a female wrestler, and she's like, here, stay here, because she's on her way to New York. She's like, stay here, I can train you and stuff. And then she's training her, and then she makes a move on her, and then she's like, okay, I'm done, I'm out of here, and then goes to New York. Yeah, I interviewed that actress that played the lesbian that made a move on her. She used to be married to the guy who played the warden in The Shawshank Redemption.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's another movie that I don't necessarily want to watch it when I calm down. Calm down. It's just one of those movies that is like way up here. It's like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. I've been feeling very nostalgic for it lately. I watched it with my best friend this summer, and I'm in the mood to watch it again. It's just one of those great movies I could watch over and over again. I love it so much.
Oh yeah, I got you there. I totally get you there because and and I've got like I said, Tombstone, The Guardians.
Yeah.
Those are my two that I can watch again and again and again. Um, and every once in a while, I got to throw Waterworld in there just because of how good Kevin Costner, yeah,
Yeah.
looks in that. I mean, he looks great in gills. I don't care what you say.
My favorite Costner movie is No Way Out.
Right? No Way Out. Wait a minute. Which one was it?
That's where he's in the Navy, and Gene Hackman's his superior officer, and Sean Young is the girl that he's fucking. They fuck in the limo.
No
Yeah,
Way Out.
that was
I
1987.
most like it if it's 87.
Yeah.
I probably didn't watch it in 87 because unfortunately my ex-husband was would get jealous because I had a crush on a Hollywood star like I ever had a chance, right?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh yeah, he was. That's why he's an ex.
He's a husband.
Well, my son even called me up one day and said, "Mom," and he was down at his dad's in South Carolina. I was in Virginia. He said, "Mom,
Mm-hmm.
yes, dear. Please tell me there's a 2% chance that I am not related to this family." And I started laughing. I said, "I wish I could." Well, my husband, Jack, had passed away in July of that year.
Mm-hmm.
And we both have a shoulder tattoo of a screaming eagle with Jack's name on it. We got that on December 18th,
Mm-hmm.
the day before he left to go to South Carolina. He had been there 5 days, and nobody noticed a 3 by 5 inch brand new tattoo
Mm-hmm.
on his shoulder. And I said, "Son, there's 0% chance you're not his, or that there's 0% chance that you're not his. He is your father."
Mm-hmm.
And he went, "Ah, damn."
I love it. And I've seen on your Instagram, you make necklaces. They're beautiful. What got you into that?
You know what? I got to think on. I just started one day. I was making dream catchers,
Mm-hmm.
so I already had beads, but they were the plastic pony beads. And I had gotten to where, and if you've seen any of my dream catchers are very intricate.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting here looking at one that is 25 years old and it's still together. And the web that is holding it has more than 200 stones in it. Well, my hands have gotten, because of all this degenerative disc bone disease and neuropathy and all that, to
Mm-hmm.
where I couldn't do the webs anymore. And so I made a necklace just, off the wing, and it sold within 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Well, hell, that thing's plastic. Let's get some real stones and see where we go from there."
Mm-hmm.
And I've been doing it for the last 5 years. In fact, this weekend alone, uh, I got over $200 worth of orders.
That's
And
awesome.
I, yeah, I really enjoy making them. And a lot of people don't understand. It's not so much putting the necklace together. It's and I've done this. There was one I did. I start with the centerpiece, the pendant, and then I build around it. And there was one that took me. I've had it on my dining room table, and I kept looking at it, looking at it, looking at it
Mm-hmm.
for 3 weeks, and nothing would come to mind. And then all of a sudden, one night I'm sitting here, and it hit me right between the eyes. Okay, this is how it's got to go.
Yeah.
And ever since that day, I've been doing the jewelry like I'm doing it. I really enjoy doing it. I enjoy it more if I'm doing a necklace
Mm-hmm.
for a certain person in their favorite colors and all that. Um, and it means a lot more. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Remember that guy, that old farmer? He used to make necklaces, and he used to put bird shit in the stones. His name was Frank Hill.
He put bird shit in the stones?
Yeah, that was his signature. He would put quail droppings and bird shit and all of that. And he was on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
Oh, no, no, no. I don't do that, folks. I no
I
bird
know,
shit.
I know, but I'm just saying. Like, remember that guy? I mean, he was so memorable, and like, he gave Johnny one for him to keep, and he's like, "I've never been completely moved, Frank, if you excuse the expression."
Oh, my God. That sounds like Johnny Carson.
Yeah. And then he called him the Cartier of Caca.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Gotta remember that phrase. That's good.
Yeah. Oh no.
That's good. The Cartier of Caca.
Yes.
Very good. I got to remember that. I'll use that sometime down the road. I promise you that.
Yeah. No, I wasn't suggesting that you do that, but it's just like seeing those reminded me because it was the same style. The kind of Cherokee Indian type of reservation style necklaces that he did as well.
Right. Well, I do a combination. I do Gothic
Hmm.
because I'm sure you've seen the dragons.
Right. I have.
And I do the Gothic. I do the quartz pendants. Um, the dragons, the dragonflies. I do natural stone. I just finished one that was made with malachite, which I love that stone. Um, and like I said, I just really enjoy doing it. It keeps me out of trouble,
Hmm.
and it keeps my brain from going dull.
Yeah.
Um, because, like I said, putting it together is not the issue. It's, and I hate to say it this way, it's putting it together. The
Hmm.
color of the beads, the size of the beads, how, what order is it going to be in? Um, and like I said, it's taken me up to 3 weeks, to decide on that. And there was one I took apart 10 times. I'll never forget that one. I'd put it together and think it was going all so good, and I'd look at it again. So no, that ain't right. And I'd cut the string, drop the beads, and start from scratch.
That's so awesome that you have so many orders though. That's like I'm sure it's really expanded from the time you started till now.
Oh yeah, like I said, I went to CAC and came back. I had $150 order. Then I went on Instagram, which I need to thank you for, and I had a lady that wanted two of my T-shirts. And then I've got another gentleman who wanted a necklace. So I ended up, it was 150. It was a little over $200 worth of jewelry that needed to be made and sent off.
Nice.
And what's really funny is I lived in Virginia for 27 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've got my friends in Virginia. Now I'm in Oklahoma now. And I've got my friends from Virginia
Mm-hmm.
buying my necklaces and earrings from me here in Oklahoma. And I just got an order for an ankle bracelet, which I haven't made one yet. I'm waiting on the gentleman to get the measurements I need to make it right.
Is that for people on probation? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, they might be on probation, but not because of my ankle bracelets. Although mine are prettier than the ones from the state. They should think as small as computer chips have gotten, they should think about using my ankle bracelets, as decorations, so it doesn't look like, oh, watch her, we got a criminal walking in here.
Yeah. So now we play my secret silly game. This is a series of silly slumber party questions. It's no win or lose. It's just pure fun. And how the game works, Vicky, is I ask you the question, you answer it, then you ask me that exact same question, and I answer it. And feel free to comment on the answers because they might be funny.
Okay.
Vicky, are you ticklish?
Most definitely, yes.
Nice.
Are you ticklish?
Oh, yes, but if you tickle me without warning, I might hit you in the groin.
Point well taken. I'm the same way.
Did you get tickled a lot when you were wrestling?
No, but I did some tickling.
Oh.
Judy Martin can tell you about that. We were on live TV, and I mean with no delay.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in a mood, and Judy Martin had a bountiful chest at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And when she covered you, she covered you.
Yeah.
And I, one day, like I said, we were on TV, and she covered me, and I reached up and I blew a zerbert on her chest. She jumped up like a scalded cat.
You blew a raspberry is what you did.
Yeah, we call it, where I come from, Pacific Northwest, we call it a zerbert.
A zerbert.
But yeah, a raspberry. And that's one of my favorite memories in matches.
Is your belly button an innie or an outie?
Innie. Is your belly button an innie or an outie?
It is also an innie. What color are your toenails painted?
Not.
Okay.
What color are yours painted?
They are purple.
Oh, my favorite color.
That's my mom's favorite color, too.
Ah, I got it.
What would you say is your best personality trait?
My best and worst at the same time is I tell the truth.
Yep.
And yourself?
That can work against me too, but I'm a Gemini, so I have empathy and I have no filter.
Also true for me there too.
Yes.
My husband used to tell me, Vic, just because it goes through your head doesn't mean it's got to come out your mouth.
Yeah. What's your guilty pleasure?
Oh, Wynn's buffet in Vegas.
That's nice. Oh God, I love a buffet in Nevada. I'll tell you.
If you ever get to Vegas, it's WYNN. This is
it.
yes, it's expensive. Ain't even gonna lie. I mean, they've got a room with a Ferrari and a Jaguar in it.
Love it.
But that buffet, if you don't want to wait 3 hours, you have to call for reservations. But they have everything from escargot, caviar, roast beef, prime rib, crab legs.
Love it.
And when I went, I stay with a friend of mine. I go to CAC early, and I spend a couple days with a friend of mine. And when we went this last time, the dang crab legs, you'd pop them, and juice would just run out of them down your arm.
Oh, I love it.
You've got to stop there. What's your guilty pleasure?
I love eating pizza and watching a raunchy sex comedy movie.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it's a guy thing.
Yep. Yep.
If you could have anything named after you, what would it be?
You're going to make me think now. My son's first child.
Oh, love it.
And what would you, if you could have anything named after you, what would it be?
A vibrator. I'm not gonna lie.
You got me on that one. You got me on that one. The Kovac 3 big boy.
No, I'd call it the Tommy Chatsy.
Oh my God.
It's a motor. Yep, it's fuel injected. And then my favorite question, is there a stinky smell that just makes you gag?
Black Raid fly spray.
Oh, God, that's the worst.
But when you got flies, you know, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And it works really good on piss ants, too. You know those little tiny black ants?
Yeah.
If you can find where they come in and use that black raid, they're gone. They're dead.
Yeah.
They won't come back.
Yes, indeed.
So what is the smell that makes you gag?
Either farts or feet.
Either feet. Oh, yeah.
Farts or feet.
Right. Well, good thing I'm good at quiet farts then, huh?
Yeah. Do you have anything upcoming you'd like to mention?
Well, the same old, same old. Go to my page, Vicky Otis. You'll know it's me because I'm the first one that pops up.
Yep.
And I've got my book, of course. I've got my jewelry. I've got photos galore, and the main one that I've got is I sent Velvet 100 8x10s, and of us with the belts.
Nice.
You can now get those 8x10s for $25 a piece, and we both signed it.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Velvet is pretty much, Moolah put a hurting on Velvet. Velvet is not into doing anything for wrestling. She's got her father-in-law to take care of, her kids, and her husband. And this is the only way that you can get something that has us both signed. And it's a picture, an 8x10 of us with the belts.
That's wonderful. I'm going to have to get one of those.
All right, let me know.
Okay.
Yeah, I split it with whatever I get. I split it with Velvet.
Awesome.
So.
I have a joke for you.
Oh, Lord.
What do you call a boy that doesn't masturbate?
What?
A liar.
Absolutely true.
It is true.
That's true.
It is nonfiction.
No, that's nonfiction. That's the truth.
Thank you so much, Vicky, for coming on tonight. You are just an inspiration, and you are so awesome. And I'm glad we're connected on social media now. You have a great rest of your year and be safe out there.
Same goes. Same goes for you. Be careful out there. The world's gone crazy.
It sure has.
And I will talk to you soon. All right.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right. Good night, dear.
Good night. Well, there you have it. Princess Victoria. Oh my God. Isn't she a sweetheart? Isn't she awesome? She was so funny and just so bluntly honest and so inspirational. I enjoyed every minute of that conversation. She is just fabulous. That was a great talk. Oh my God. Get her jewelry, get autographs, get it all. She is awesome. Well, until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying there's no shame in living in the past because the present sucks. Later, dudes.